Man, can I not wait to watch Oppenheimer on 4K. So let's find out how this is. Oh, man. Boy, now that we got that explosive intro out of the way, greetings from Movie Land, everybody. I'm the host with the mostest, Cinema Cali, and welcome to today's episode where we're going to talk about Oppenheimer on 4K. Now, I was unfortunate enough, I was gunning for the Steelbook, but I was not able to get my hands on the Steelbook. However, I still was able to get the last beautiful 4K edition here. It was the last one at my Best Buy. This will probably be one of the last new releases I'm going to get there. And what couldn't be a more fitting movie than that? As you can see, I have a slipcover. We'll slide that off real quick. And here we have both of them side by side. And here is Oppenheimer. Just regular old 4K. It's pretty much identical to the slipcase. And here we have, hopefully this won't explode again. No, we're good. All right, everybody. So here we have the innards of the disc. As you can see, we have 3 discs in this set. We have the main 4K disc, and then right behind it is the Blu-ray disc with the Blu-ray version of the film. And then finally, we have a Blu-ray disc devoted completely to bonus features. Now, one thing I do want to point out with the bonus features is they're excellent. I have not gotten to watch all of them yet because there are over almost 3.5 hours of bonus features in here, almost 3.5 hours worth. And I only watched just some of the making ofs just because after watching this film, I really wanted to know more about it and just how incredible it was. I ended up really liking this movie. But before I go into the review of this, I just have a few more thoughts on the 4K edition of this. This looked excellent. I did miss it in theaters. There was just a lot going on in my life, and there was other movies to see, and if I'm being honest, the initial trailers for this film, I was like, yeah, it looks good, but I wasn't super wowed by it. And I understand. It did look beautifully shot. But if I'm being honest, it's just the trailers just didn't excite me. So I wasn't super ready to go to the theater for it. It was, however, really neat watching everyone freak out about this movie and how much it made in theaters. And it gave me hope with the fact that hopefully we will get more original films in the future that will be more like this instead of the endless franchises that we've been getting lately. It just never stops. So it was nice seeing everything surrounding this film when it came out, and I missed it. And after watching it, I'll be honest, I am kind of disappointed that I missed it. I really wish I could have seen this in IMAX. I'm sure a lot of those IMAX scenes were just awe-inspiring to watch. And I've seen some of Christopher Nolan's movies on IMAX, like Dunkirk. I saw all 3 of his Batman movies on there. And I also saw Inception in there as well. And yeah, he definitely knows how to shoot a grandiose film that shows the power of film, and he really loves the art form, and you could definitely tell that with this. And so yes, if this is something that you have either seen before or are interested in seeing it, I would highly recommend the 4K edition. Whether you get the physical disc or you rent it or buy it digitally. However, I do feel the best experience for this film is watching it in 4K, and I am so glad that I was able to get a hold of this and experience this for the first time on here. And absolutely stunning. Loved it. So now we're on to the main feature of today's video, and that is the review of the movie. I ended up really enjoying this. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I definitely have some problems with it. I don't think it was an absolute 10 on 10 movie. And there was some problems with it. I do feel like one of the problems I had with it was I had no idea that a big bulk of this movie's runtime, which it is 3 hours long for those of you who don't know, so that is a big ask. And I have always been of the opinion that if your film is going to be that long, then there's got to be a good reason for it. And this one there was. However, to tell a story of this grandeur, you do need that longer runtime. So I did feel the runtime was justified. I just wish there was other things that we explored during this runtime. Spoilers going forward, just so everybody knows. So if you are interested in seeing this, I would say stop the video and come back after you have watched it. And so now, here is your final warning. 3, 2, 1. I really wish the last hour of this movie just didn't turn into a courtroom drama. Now, was it interesting? Absolutely. And I was definitely engrossed in it, and I wanted to see what happened. However, I felt like there was more to Oppenheimer's story after the courtroom and the trial of trying to figure out whether he was a spy or that there was potential collusion, especially with the Russians and them building a hydrogen bomb later on during the Cold War. And the story just kind of stops after all of that, after we see all of that. And I really wish that trial stuff was shrunken down and that we got to see more of him dealing with what he built and what he brought to man. Because a big theme of the film is the fact that Oppenheimer is a modern day Prometheus. He was the one that gave fire to man. And essentially, because he created a nuclear bomb, it then thrusted us into the nuclear age and potentially could have, and it did, change the face of warfare for, I think, forever. And the trial was really interesting, but I just wish there was a little more about the post stuff, like what happened directly after the war. And we did get to see a little of that with, like, when they built it, and essentially the government just came in and swooped in and said, okay, now we're going to drop it, and we need to drop it. And then there's probably one of the best scenes of the movie is them trying to figure out where they're going to drop it. And just how it was filmed, and there was no obnoxious music, which I'll get to that in a second. And it was just a very well done and well shot scene. And this was one of those scenes that I feel like would have really been neat to see on IMAX, because you have the big circular table with like 10, 15 people surrounding it, a big map. I mean, it's a big thing, and they're circling stuff, and they're trying to, maybe we should drop it here, maybe we should do here. What's our collateral? What's going to happen here? Is it going to be a prime military target? It was fascinating, and I really wanted to know more, and it was very well done. But now I'll get to the music. There's a lot of scenes in this where the music is so freaking loud that it really overshadows a lot of the rich dialogue. This is a dialogue movie. Heavy dialogue in this. A lot of which that you have to pay attention to. And that is where I feel like a lot of people are going to get lost when watching this film. Is that you're going to be watching it, and then if you drift away for 5 seconds or even a minute or so, all of a sudden there's a new character on the screen being like, hi, I'm so-and-so from this division, or I'm a scientist from over here, and there's just constant characters in and out of this movie. So you really have to sit down and prepare yourself to be fully immersed in this. And that's one of the reasons why I did like it. I could just see why a lot of people wouldn't like the movie because of that. I watched this with my wife, for example, and about almost an hour and a half in, she started losing interest, and I could tell she started shifting around in her chair, and then we had to pause it at one point, and I asked her, I was like, are you enjoying this? Or are you kind of starting to lose it? And she full on admitted to me that I'm glad we watched this at home because I'm starting to lose interest. And so I told her that's fine, but I'm going to keep watching it because I was fully invested and I wanted to know what was going on. And so, but it was still a great experience, and I'm so glad that I got to watch the film. I do think this is probably going to be something that I'm only going to watch maybe once a year, just because of the fact that you really have to prepare yourself for this world. And I absolutely loved it. It was really good. There was too many characters to really latch onto besides just a handful of them. And so you lose a lot of that in there, and if anything, it turns more into, oh, look at this famous actor, and they're eating up the scenery that they're in for the maybe 5 minutes of screen time that they have. And that is a constant through this film as well, is that there's just a massive list of top tier actors in this, and they all brought their A+ game, and that is probably, I think, the thing that the film needed to nail the most, and it definitely delivered, was this movie is completely held up by its acting and just the incredibleness of it. And also, too, the actor who plays Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy, my God, I have always really liked him in roles, but he's never really been an actor that I have sought out work of. I've always just been like, oh, he's in this, so he's clearly going to be really good in it. But this, oh my God, I cannot wait to see the next film that he works on. He is Oppenheimer. This is definitely one of those things where I would argue that we will look back on and say, yes, Cillian Murphy was born to play Robert J. Oppenheimer. And on that note, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Definitely check out the film. Pick it up on 4K or however. I highly recommend it. It is a very good film. But do make sure that you note those notes that I made, that you're going to be in for a long haul of 3 hours, and that you really have to pay attention during these 3 hours. So if you have to watch it in chunks, that is perfectly fine as well. But yeah. So anyway, that is all from Movieland today. So I will see you guys on the next one. And don't forget to comment down below and let me know what you thought of the film. And maybe we can have a nice Oppenheimer discussion down below. So yeah, I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!